Hello everyone. I want to do a farmer's market haul and then I want to talk about a mindset shift that I would love everybody to take. So first things first, I had already hung this up but took it down just to show. Look at this little kitty. Hope y'all can see it. I'm hanging it up at my place right now, but I'm probably gonna give it to my aunt. Something else that I bought a couple beanies, and in all honesty, because it was so cold, but I got this beanie. I pretty much save all my money so that I could support local when all of these shops start to pop up. But yeah, I got this beanie, and then I got this little chicken from the same place, so the same girl who makes those. And then I got these earrings. They were like 6 for $15, so I don't think that they're probably the best quality, but I got this little boot. Thought that was cute. I got this little teacup. I hope you guys can see that. Along with, or that's a teapot. This one's a teacup, right? So I thought that was cute. Hopefully that's focusing in. So that's 3. Let's see what the other 3 that I got are. I got this little like skull thing. Ooh, I don't know. I'm probably gonna have to switch up the hook, the way that the hook is, but I thought this was cool. And then in ink, I have a gold necklace like this. That's really good quality, but I love that. And then I got this rat. I couldn't stop looking at this, so I got this little rat necklace. And then from the same woman, I got these little garnet earrings. I love like like an elongated type of piece of jewelry, right? I love almond shaped gems and rings and stuff like that, so I thought these were cute, and I just loved the red, even though you can't really see it against my hair, but whatever. And then the same place that I got this beanie, I got this scarf. I've been wanting scarves like these, and I think this blue is so pretty. I was kind of like wanting like a different color. Like she had a green that was something else that I was, I was like, I would have loved that in this, right? As this scarf, this style, like I would love this in pink, but the blue is very me. I really do gravitate towards a lot of blue makeups and blue for me. Probably one of my favorite finds of today. This is a woman that I'm probably going to start collecting from, right? I found this bracelet. How amazing is this? She had the most amazing bracelets. It's just like so cool. Like you take that off. I think it's pretty easy for me to put on. Let's see. Whoa, that kind of moved. I guess this gem could move, which I figure, but yeah, how beautiful is this? I've been wanting to start getting some bracelets, right? I think I've shown y'all at some point some bangles that I've got and stuff. I love this. I might keep her card in my wallet, because I know people are going to ask me where I got this from, and that way I can remember, because in all honesty, I would love to get some more bracelets from her. They're a little expensive. I don't remember how much this one was, but I mean, the way she was like making her jewelry, and it's such good quality, and how she was making it in front of us, it was like, I was like, this one's talented. This artist is talented, and you can kind of tell why her shit is a little bit more expensive, but not too expensive, right? It's like it's local, you know what I mean? And I'm willing to support that because, wow. Turquoise isn't my favorite stone, but this I thought was beautiful. I could not leave without this. And she had some beautiful necklaces that were so me, and some other bracelets and stuff. So I'm excited to see her throughout the summer at the farmer's market. Last but not least, I just washed these cups, but this was really what I was looking for today when going to the farmer's market. I wanted pottery cups, right? And I think this was one of the last shops that we stopped at, because no, we were waiting for our burritos. And I had been looking for pottery, and I had been looking for cups, and I was like, every single shop that we went to, I just didn't like, the colors, I didn't like, the shape, and I was looking for cups without handles, right? I didn't want a mug, I wanted cups. So I found this woman, and she, this was only $20, right? I feel like, some people would have tried to get $35 out of you. So I got 3. So this, plus it's bigger, right? I would have been happy if it was like this much smaller, but I don't know. It has a thumb hole, or the thumb place, but this one's the green. And then I got blue. So cute, right? So beautiful. And then of course I got pink, her little pink version. But yeah, this is what I went to the farmer's market. I was hoping to get at the farmer's market was cups. So I'm happy about this. I love supporting local. I used to, buy a bunch of Shein hauls and spend all this money at 2 in the morning and, get all this stuff from Amazon. But it's like, no, how about you save your money so that you can spend it in person and hold the things that you're buying and buy them from people you're talking to. You know what I mean? So that's something that I've really tried to do, is support local. There are so many local artists in my state, so that's very important. All right, today's topic, I wanted to talk about how the best thing that you can do is age, right? Bottom line, best thing you can do is age, because other than that, that means you're dead. You know what I mean? So it's good to age. But I was also thinking a little bit further past that, and I was like, maybe the best thing that you can do is age visibly, right? You're aging. And some people don't age well. And I think a lot of people end up not aging well because there's a lot of bitterness. There's a lot of stress. There's a lot of holding on to emotion. And many of us aren't taught to emote well. I don't think we're taught to navigate through our emotions, or taught to bottle them up, because the adults around us, they don't know how to get through their emotions. So, they might punish you for having emotions when you're younger, and they don't know how to deal with it. So why would they be able to teach you how to deal with it? And now everybody doesn't know how to deal with things. So yeah, I just feel like when it comes to aging, some people don't age well because there are different types of bitterness, right? I don't think racists age very well. I don't think people who have a lot of prejudice in their heart, who, project a bunch of negativity out, yeah, they might not age well. Of course, maybe there are always exceptions. Maybe the woman who drank Coke and only Coke every day of her life lives to 102. It's like, she's an exception. She's not the rule, right? So it's like when somebody's really negative and it's like, oh, but she still looks good in her old age. I would argue that a majority of people who just aren't good people, I don't think that they look good when they're older. I think people who mind their business, lay low, you know, spread positivity, um, give comfort to others, I think that they age in a way that lets them age gracefully. They age in a way that, you know, you can't see so much emotion stagnant in their faces, right? You might see happiness in their faces. And that's why I think it's important to age naturally. Of course, we have a bunch of people talking about it's my body, my choice. I'm gonna go to the doctor and pay all this money and utilize my insurance to pay most likely men in male dominated fields to make me look different. Okay, do what you want. I just think that when it comes to aging, it might be, you know, me personally, I think that I just really look forward to seeing how I age naturally. I want to see how I age naturally, right? I'm hoping that I age gracefully. I'm hoping that I age in a way to where it's not like, yeah, that is a bitter bitch. She looks it, right? Nobody stays young forever. So, you know, but I see so many older people, older than me, right? Because I see so many people in their 30s, 40s, where it's like, okay, you don't look like you're in your 20s, but you're still gorgeous when you're in your 40s and 50s, because you look 40s and 50s. You look that old, but you look happy. You look fresh. You look, you know, like you're enjoying life, but you look like you've lived some life. And I think those people, it's like I'd love to, you know, get a conversation out of them. Because how have you lived your life? Sometimes you'll end up talking to some of these people that are a little older, 50, 60, and you'll realize that they're actually pretty stupid still. They haven't aged well. Maybe some of them look good, but some people, they do, you know, stay the same age mentally, emotionally, intelligently. Like a lot of them do stay stagnant. They'll get to a point, maybe it's when they get out of high school, maybe it's when they get out of college, maybe it's right when they have kids. They will not learn anymore. And so sometimes when you're talking to people who are 50, 60 years old, you'll sit there and think, wow, you believe that you know enough and you stopped learning. And everybody can tell, you know, everybody of intelligence, everybody who, you know, aspires to grow more, they can tell that you've stopped putting in the effort. So I think that the wisest thing, the best thing that you can do is age, but you should also, your body's always changing, your mind should always be changing too. Because if you're gonna stay stagnant, I think that, you know, scientifically, biologically, there are a lot of studies that'll tell you, like, if you keep your brain stagnant, it might make it more likely for you to get dementia earlier, get dementia at all, right? Early onset dementia, Alzheimer's. It's like you need to be doing some things to like change it up for your brain. Like I'm talking, like I'm thinking of what do they say to do? You brushing your teeth with your non-dominant hand. Like little things like that help, right? Doing crossword puzzles, learning more, reading more, taking classes when you're older, just to keep going. You keep your mind going. Of course you need to be working out, you know, muscle, what do they say, weight training, so that way your bones stay supple. But I think it's like everything's always changing. So unfortunately, some people would think unfortunately, you know, other people would think fortunately, you should change too. We should always be progressing. I think people who are a little more conservative, who try to conserve, I think that's out of laziness or out of fear. I think a lot of people are scared of change. And if they're not scared of change, I think that they're lazy. I think some people just don't want to put in the effort to learn. They don't want to put in the effort to get to know people, to get to know their children, right? I think when you become a parent, many parents, they stop learning because it's like, all right, I'm the dominant one I'm the leader of this household. Like, I don't really need to learn because I can just say that I know everything and these kids are going to listen to me, right? Some people do have that mindset. I think that when you have children, your learning's going to start to pick up because you should want to teach your children, you should want to give them the tools to be able to navigate this life easily, or at the very least give them the tools to be able to navigate it at their fullest potential, right? And when you're sitting there and you're like, well, this is that and that's it because I said, are you smart enough to even say that? I think a lot of people have kids, unfortunately. I know it sounds like in a lot of my videos, I'm dogging on parents. I'm not. I think parents, I think that the outlook on parenting, on having children, I think it is the outlook on that within our society, it is not good. It is not good. I think a lot of people think that that kids are an entitlement. They'll sit there and say, kids are a blessing, kids are a blessing. They are a blessing. And I think a lot of people who sit there and say that, I don't think that they treat the kids like a blessing. I think a lot of them set these children up for failure, right? And it doesn't help anybody because these kids grow into adults and then they're acting like shit, right? And then they're not smart. And then they don't yearn for more information. They don't yearn for learning because their parents didn't, right? It's just, and some kids, they'll, do things for themselves and they themselves will yearn for learning while their parents don't. That is very much possible, right? But not everybody is going to fall out of line with that. Many people are going to perpetuate that mindset and keep it going. So yeah, it is important to age. Best thing you can do is age, or else that means you're not here with us anymore. Not good. Not that there's anything wrong with death. I don't think it's anything to be scared of, but I think everybody should enjoy living, enjoy their time here. You got to enjoy your time here. And the way that you do that, I think, is by learning about everything, especially about yourself, so that you can understand what is and what isn't right for you. And then hopefully after that, you avoid settling. And then you find somebody, you find people, whether it's romantic, whether it's platonic, you find people who actually like you because you know who you are. And you end up, making lifelong friendships, not out of circumstance, not because, everybody just doesn't want to be alone and everybody just needs somebody to hang out with. No, you guys want to hang out with each other, right? So I just think learning gives you that opportunity. When you stay stagnant within your mind, when you refuse to age your mind, when you refuse to, give your mind more wisdom, it's like, I don't think you're aging your mind in a good way. I think you're letting your brain deteriorate. I think a lot of people I think humans are able to keep their brains going as long as you feed it well with the stuff we physically ingest, but also with what we consume in media. And a lot of people, the other day I saw this post that was like, media I consumed this week. And it was some interesting books, YouTube videos, articles. And there were, for a lack of a better word, dumbasses in the comments section talking about, are you hearing yourself? Media I consumed this week. Everything is media. The books you're reading are media. The books you aren't reading are media, I should say, rather, because reading, I think it's at an all-time low. Mind you, choosing the media that you consume is important for your brain. And so it's important to disconnect and not stress yourself out and take in other forms of media. One of my posts that I pinned on my profile before my account got banned, go follow my backup TikTok account, because TikTok is not giving me back my old account, unfortunately. But one of my pinned posts on my old account was, stop reading self-help, start reading classic literature. Because that in and of itself, I think, is self-help. It gets you to the way that when I started reading classic literature earlier this year, or maybe it was last year too, the way that it started to get me to think was jaw-dropping, eye-opening, right? It made me, it made me concerned that everybody else isn't, that's falling off. And I think when it comes to, teaching classic literature, I think it's taught in high schools, but a lot of the times I don't think, me starting to look at this stuff more in my later 20s was big. It was big. I think that, in all honesty, if I was dictator, I think college should be starting at 23 to 27, maybe. I would argue later, because going to college when you're 18 to 22 years old, I still don't think a lot of people were ready. I wasn't ready. And I think I'm pretty lucky that I even finished my degree. Yeah, I got a lot out of it. Yeah, it did change me. But people should be in school for longer. And maybe we should go about it in a different way other than the public school system. Like, of course, there should be more, I don't know, like the way that an ideal society could be put, and we could afford it. We as humans could afford it. All of the taxes that are being, hoarded, it's like the way that we could put that into education, into universal, paying of the bills and making sure everybody's all right and making sure everybody's like getting, our species could be so much more intelligent as a whole. But, we're being exploited. They don't care how smart we are because they want their money. They don't care what we got going on down here. You know what I mean? So, but when I think about the ideal society, it's like, imagine if everybody was okay on the bills and, okay on the healthcare, and schooling was just, looked at as, what else would we do? Let's learn, right? Let's get into learning. You don't have to worry about surviving. You're going to survive comfortably. But it's like, what else do you want to do? Do you want to go into medicine? Do you want to learn about that? Right? You got to learn about other things too. But you're going to be doing the things that you pick because your purpose is like, how do you want to help people? I think everybody's purpose is, how do we make other people feel? How are we going to help others and change others' perspectives? But it's like, how? Are you going to do that in medicine and teaching people, how to better live their lifestyle, how to better take care of their bodies, better take care of their mental health? Or are you going to do that within education, within teaching, right? Going along with my last video talking about purpose, your life reward is rooted in purpose, right? So, you know, a lot of people aren't going to find their true purpose in this lifetime, I think, in this current society, because a lot of people's purpose, I guess, is to solely survive, right? It's hard to survive because of the way that we are exploited, right? That others in this society are exploited at different levels. You know what I'm saying? So, yeah, aside from that, best thing you could do is age. If you're in a privileged position to where it's like, okay, I don't know if this is crazy, but I believe that it's like, if you're not being trafficked, if you're not in a country that's like legitimately using you as a slave, I do think there's a certain privilege you have to you. And I don't want to, you know, go down the pipeline of like the American mindset where it's like you should be grateful that you live in the US, and you know, the US is the best country in the world, and you know, you're making your money. Sure, we're still being exploited though. But you know, we get to go home to our apartments. We get to go home, you know, and hang out with our friends and go out to the clubs. A lot of us do get to do that, right? If we can afford it. You know what I mean? So it's like, I see the privilege in that. So the way that I try to really take advantage of that privilege is by speaking up and trying to get other people to see that privilege too, but by further educating myself, by listening to other people's experiences and perspectives and trying to learn about them so that I can learn about myself. By reading, you know, by disconnecting from some forms of media, because some forms of media are harmful. And I think a lot of forms of media in our Western civilization over here in America, it has tainted our American society over the past few years. And it's honestly why we're at where we're at now instead of where we could have been, right? And I think that certain forms of media have been planted to ruin our American society. But, you know, maybe that's a conspiracy, but whatever. But yeah, either way, I think I implore everybody to come to terms with aging, right? And therefore, you could come to terms with death. I think a lot of people are afraid to die. And I think a lot of people, you know, start to be afraid of dying because they feel like they're running out of time. I think that you'll feel like that less if you enjoy the moments that you have and really grab hold of them and utilize them by learning. You take advantage of these moments that we have and be mindful within them. Try to be happy within them, right? Because I feel like a lot of times nostalgia is so prevalent in our society, and the media and all of these corporations try to take advantage of nostalgia by pushing certain things and getting things to cycle in. And, you know, they're trying to make money off that. But nostalgia is such a big thing because too many of us don't live in the moment. So then there are moments that we could be enjoying right then, but then they pass us by. And then all of a sudden we're thinking about that moment, thinking, damn, I miss that. That was so fun. I miss those times. But mind you, in the moment, you were like hating life. You were like, oh, I can't wait till the future. I can't wait until this situation. I can't wait until that situation. It's like, enjoy the moment you're in now. I'm sure you'll manifest what you're looking forward to. It's important to look forward to stuff, but you gotta enjoy the situation that you're in now, even if it's a shitty situation sometimes, right? And if it's so bad that you can't enjoy it, you know, I think it's important to maybe try to get out of it. Maybe try to change it. Try to, like, what's that saying? Focus on the things you can change, and if you can change them, change them. But if you can't change them, maybe you should change your outlook on it, type of thing. You know what I mean? Even people who are in the most horrendous of situations, right? People who are kidnapped. There are so many situations where they're like, they literally get saved, they save themselves, and then they write books about how they didn't give up and how they didn't let go in their brain. And even though they have some Stockholm syndrome to the mindset, to the person that kidnapped them, to the monster that literally took away their autonomy, they still fought in their brains and they got themselves out of it. It's like if people in that horrid of a situation, human trafficking, right, kidnapping, all of that stuff, if those people can get out of it, I'm pretty fucking sure that we as human beings in shitty situationships and shitty relationships, right? I don't even know what a situationship is. I wish that wasn't, I wish that didn't exist, but people just love to hold on to settling, right? They don't want to get out of situations. They don't want to get themselves out of situations. It's like you're in a situationship. I think you're afraid to change. I think you're afraid to say no. I think you don't want to look inward and be alone so that you can have the opportunity to look inward and get to know yourself, so that way you can come across people who actually like you and who actually sit there and they're like, this isn't no situationship. We're together. I want to be with you. I want it to be us, right? Mind you, I'm talking about romantic and platonic, because I think that majority of soulmates are platonic. I think they are friendships. I think they are sibling situations. I think they might even be, parental situations, parent-child, right? I think that is where soulmates lie the most. Many people just think it's romantic because that is what women are conditioned in. They're conditioned from birth to get ready to be in romantic relationships. I think we need to all condition ourselves to get to know ourselves. We should all be conditioned to get to know ourselves, so that way we attract people who, are meant for us, are actually meant for us. Because in all honesty, unless you're a twin, you are born into this world alone, and you're most likely going to die alone, right? God willing, you die alone in bed one night, unless it's an accident with other people, but, that's not amazing. That's not good, but it is what it is. And that's the thing, is a lot of people, they refuse to come to terms with all of that and stay stagnant in whatever situation to avoid that. It's coming. So maybe we should all just start enjoying moments as they go by and start seeing how we can take advantage of the moments. What are we doing? Are we getting an education? Are we learning? Are we working towards something? Are we learning about ourselves? We're not taught to do any of that. We're taught to kind of keep it safe, play it safe, conserve what already is, because what already is comfortable. Even if it's like, is it comfortable long term? No, it's actually pretty harmful. So, yeah. Either way, love y'all. Hope you have a great weekend. Follow me on everything here, and like and subscribe for me, and I will keep making videos whether you do any of that or not.